Hey everyone, it's Jeremiah from Alamance Battleground, and I'm back with another Tryon's March real-time update for today, May 29th. The militia is back on the march, finally, after several days of rain, swollen river crossings that have kept them at the Sandy Creek camp at Herman Husband's. But as we're about to see, there are still lots of issues that the militia is running into as far as their transportation. And I'm actually glad that we've had several days of rain while we've been shooting these, because you can see exactly what Tryon is talking about and what this militia is facing in these river crossings. I'm standing at Polecat Creek, close to the deep river, and this river crossing proves to be extremely difficult for the militia. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how they crossed this creek when it would have looked almost exactly like it does right now. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what has happened in the intervening days and what happens with the militia when they are forced to just sit in the rain for several days, as they did at Herman Husband's. So for the campaign journal on Wednesday, the 29th of May, it notes that they have marched 4 miles. This is in addition to 5 miles that they marched yesterday when they finally felt that it was okay to begin marching towards some of these river crossings. And they crossed Polecat Creek, which they describe as a deep and ugly ford. And having hiked down here for this video today, I can say, yeah, they were exactly right in that description. Felled a large tree across the creek and marched the troops over in Indian file, which is to say single file. From the obstructions of this creek, they were 5 hours in getting all over. Marched 2 miles beyond the creek and encamped on the northeast banks of Deep River, left the Rangers, Wake, and Orange detachments at Polecat Creek. So even in 5 hours, they're not able to get the entire army over this creek, because they have had to fell a tree and get it over and march single file to get over the water. You can see just how fast it's rushing right now. And this is only after a few days of rain here in 2020. So prior to crossing over Polecat Creek, what is it that the militia is up to? In the orderly book and in the campaign journal, we get a little bit of information about how the militia has been occupying their time and the issues that come up with just sitting and sitting with the weather being as awful as it has been. So on May 26th, Governor Tryon writes into his orders for that day, "His Excellency is much concerned that notwithstanding his repeated orders, the officers are so negligent of their duty as to suffer soldiers to fire off their guns through all parts of the camp. He expects that for the future, they will be more observant and send every man that fires without his leave to the quarter guard to be tried by a court-martial for disobedience of orders." And so we see that the militia is dying of boredom and firing off their guns in camp at all times of day and throughout the camp. And it's becoming a very large issue. Going through the campaign journal, we see some of the issues also of the rains that are continuing. On the 26th of May, that evening, the governor was informed that at Polecat Creek, the Rangers had joined the Orange detachment, but that the creek was too much swelled to pass over it. Rains continuing day and night. And then the next day, on the 27th, continued in camp much rain, it having scarcely ceased for 7 days, and the men having no tents or anything to shelter them but boughs and the bark of trees. Near 100 were seized with pleurisy of fevers. So that accounts for about a 10% casualty rate of an army of 1,000, with 100 being struck with fevers and illnesses because of the weather that they've had to sit in for days and days at a time. Eventually on the 28th of May, yesterday, the Army decides finally to march. They cover 5 miles, but then true form to the weather for this time, it ends with the note, a very heavy thunder shower this afternoon. So the militia really can't win for losing at this point because of the weather and how bad it is. And you can really see it here at Polecat Creek. So the militia is going to continue fighting through these swollen creeks as best as they can, but it might be slow going here for a little while. Morale is starting to flag here as we reach the end of May. I'm going to be back again soon from their next camp close to the Uwharrie River, and we'll be talking a little bit about the campaign as we end the month of May and get closer to the month of June. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you again soon from the Uwharrie River. Be sure to like and share, and we will see you again in our next video.